Hi, I'm Annie with Miserable Cow Coaching. Check out my website and contact info in the description. Let's talk about intentionality, how to live an intentional life, and why you might want to. I've been thinking about intentionality a lot lately, and it all started when I started tracking my time. I use this funny looking cube here to track my time. For example, this symbol is facing up right now. That means I'm tracking activities related to this channel. You don't need a fancy little cube like this in order to track time. There are plenty of time tracking apps you can use. I just like that one because it's cute. So the idea of tracking every moment of the day sounds kind of anal, but it can actually be a really profound practice if you allow it to be. If your habits and routines and the way that you spend each moment is intentional, then voila, you have an intentional life. But why would you want that? People talk about happiness a lot. They want to live a happy life. I don't concern myself too much with happiness because life by its nature is challenging. And those challenges are happening for you, not to you. The challenges that you encounter in your life are unique gifts that allow you to continue to evolve and grow and become the person that you're meant to be. So I like the word contented better. I would like to live a contented life. And one of the ways to make that happen is to live intentionally. Living intentionally equals contentment. For me anyway. A contented life arises from intentionality. It comes from rising to meet life's challenges and taking full responsibility for personal reality. It's about living life consciously, taking radical responsibility for the circumstances of your own life. I don't want to allow unconscious programming, habits, and routines to drive the ship. I want to be the captain of the ship. So let's consider this quote from Annie Dillard. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. What we do with this hour and that one is what we are doing. A schedule defends from chaos and whim. It is a net for catching days. It is a scaffolding on which a worker can stand and labor with both hands at sections of time. A schedule is a mock-up of reason and order, willed, faked, and so brought into being. It is a peace and a haven set into the wreck of time. It is a lifeboat on which you find yourself, decades later, still living. So let's deconstruct this quote. I'm hearing a lot of SI. A schedule defends from chaos and whim, possibly overworking the SI in order to mitigate chaos, which is something I'm a huge fan of. But I can hear all the OEs screaming, but I love whim. What the fuck is wrong with whim? So let's look at the word whim. A sudden desire or change of mind, especially one that is unusual or unexplained. That's fair enough. We all have whims, and especially if you're an intuitive type and you can't necessarily see the logical steps that you took to arrive at the sudden whim. So it feels like it came out of nowhere. It's just a gut instinct. You feel like a change is appropriate, but maybe you don't know why, or you can't see the underlying reasons why. That's fine. It happens to me all the time. But I don't want to be controlled by whims here and there, changing direction all the time, sort of unconsciously and not really knowing why. So when I get a whim, I pause for a beat and I try to look at what's underlying. Where is this whim coming from? What is the logic behind it? What are the feelings behind it? Is it truly appropriate to change direction right now? Maybe the answer is yes, maybe the answer is no. But what I've done is paused and brought intentionality into the whim so that I'm taking full responsibility for the new direction. It's a very conscious choice at that point, only because I paused and brought intentionality into it. So I'm not allowing whims that are sort of like unconscious and not fully fleshed out to sort of control my life and jerk me all around in different directions. It's more intentional than that. So back to the Annie Dillard quote. We can also extrapolate from this that adhering to a structure that attends to each moment with great consciousness opens up a kind of freedom. It's that underlying structure and intentionality that allows for greater freedom. When each moment isn't lived consciously and intentionally, then we give away our power to outside circumstances. We forget that we have a great amount of power over the trajectory of our lives. Taking full responsibility of each moment, habits, routines, programming puts us in control of our lives. And I'm not completely intentional with every moment. I think most people aren't, but I'm aiming for that direction. There are moments of unconsciousness and moments when I forget my own agency. I get caught up in the illusion that I'm a victim of my outside circumstances. But I still keep trying to aim for greater consciousness and greater intentionality in my life because it brings me greater fulfillment to do that. And I consciously consciously block in time for free play. It's not all anal retentive behaviors and tracking time on spreadsheets. There's plenty of time for play as well. We understand the importance of unstructured playtime for the social and creative development of children, and we block in time for that. I don't know about you, but I need playtime too. And as an adult, no one's going to block that in for me if I don't block it in for myself. And so I do that for an hour or two a day. I consciously choose playtime for myself. It's just a time that can be unstructured and creative, but it's chosen consciously. So that's basically it. My thoughts on intentionality. Bringing more intentionality into each moment leads to an intentional life, and an intentional life is a contented life, and that's what I'm aiming for.